What's up, sports fans? I'm back again, and I'm gonna be doing no, not a UFC. I might do a UFC video later, but right now I'm gonna be focusing on a basketball video that I think you guys would find interesting. I've been hearing about this topic a lot. I think we all have in the media and sports fans in general. We've been hearing about the U.S. Olympic team and Kobe and LeBron came out and said that they think they could beat the Dream Team, and everybody's talking a lot about it. But I think the Dream Team would whoop the 2012 Olympic team, and I obviously I'm going to back it up with facts, and here's why. So first of all, size. The Dream Team in 1992 had depth and skill at the power forward and the center positions, while the 2012 team did not really. They don't have a lot of depth at the 4 and the 5. They got Davis, Kevin Love, Tyson Chandler, and it's absurd. It's absurd to think that Davis, Chandler, and Kevin Love would be successful if they had to battle against the Hall of Fame big men and the Hall of Fame power forwards like Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing. These guys are all in their primes, all great Hall of Famers. I mean, this 2012 team, they can't even stop Pau Gasol and Marc Gasol. I mean, they had to bring double teams and stuff to stop Marc and Pau. Marc and Pau kind of dominated them, the Gasol brothers. So, I mean, how could you possibly think that they'd be able to stop, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, and Charles Barkley in a game situation? Come to think of it, I mean, Chris Paul and Darren Williams would also struggle against Irvin Magic Johnson if he decided to post them up. I mean, he's the tallest point guard in NBA history, pretty much, and Chris Paul's like 6 feet, and Darren Williams is like 6'2", so they would clearly struggle against the size of the Dream Team, and that's just one of the reasons. Another reason is the rule changes. You have to factor in the rule changes. Whereas hand checking was still allowed in 1992, it's hand checking is outlawed now in 2012. It's a much softer game now, and in 1992, the game was more closed down. Hand checking was allowed, and defensive players could stand in the key for as long as they wanted to. In today's NBA, hand checking and physical play has been outlawed, and the players are soft, and they're a bunch of pansies. I mean, this works in the Dream Team's favor, I think, because either way, if the game was played in '92, the current players today, like LeBron and Westbrook and the perimeter players, would struggle with the physicality of the game. Whereas if the game was played in 2012, there'd be a bunch of scoring outbursts from the Dream Team because they'd be able to just drive to the rim at will because of the softer rules. So it favors the Dream Team either way. You can't really. I don't see how you could pick the 2012 team as far as right now. And right now, another reason why is just the talent and the overall skill. I mean, I think the Dream Team was way more talented and way more skilled than this current USA team. When you factor in each member of the team there's prime MJ, prime Clyde Drexler, prime Charles Barkley, prime Karl Malone, prime David Robinson, prime Patrick Ewing, and prime Chris Mullin. On the 1992 Dream Team, there was 11 Hall of Famers. MJ, Magic, Clyde, Pippen, Barkley, Malone, Stockton, Larry Bird, Magic, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, etc. And look at the 2012 Olympic roster. I want you to look at their roster. I mean, and tell me how many of those guys you think will be Hall of Famers. Only the guys that I think are Hall of Famers. I think there's LeBron, Kobe, Durant, Chris Paul, and maybe Kevin Love. Those are the only guys that I would put that could be future Hall of Famers. So there's 5 future Hall of Famers against 11 future Hall of Famers when you look at it like that. Another reason why is the defense. the Dream Team had probably the best defense ever witnessed. They scored an average of 121 points per game, while holding their opponents to just under 70 points per game, which is an average win differential of 51 points, which means they won, the average of the games were won by 51 points. This was because of the elite defenders they had on their team: Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone, David Robinson, and Patrick Ewing. All of these guys were, some of them had won Defensive Player of the Year, a lot of them has made all defensive first team. John Stockton even led the NBA in steals for a season, if I recall correctly. And then when you compare that to the defenders on the Olympic team, on this Olympic team, Kobe and Carmelo Anthony are lazy defenders who don't exert any effort on the defensive end. Kevin Love and Anthony Davis wouldn't be able to defend in the low post, and the only elite defenders on this team are Andre Iguodala, LeBron James, and Tyson Chandler. This means that with LeBron guarding Barkley, LeBron is really the only one that could guard Barkley on this team. Durant and Kobe would have to guard either Drexler or MJ. If you put a 34-year-old Kobe against a prime Drexler or a prime MJ, they would tear him to shreds. He's not as fast as he used to be. He's not as athletic as he used to be. I mean, he's deteriorated from a physical standpoint. And if you put him against those great athletes like Drexler or MJ, they would destroy him. The only way the 2012 team could stop this would be by subbing in Andre Iguodala and sacrifice one of their best scorers, Kobe Bryant, for a good defender. And because of that big edge and defense, I think that's another reason why the Dream Team would win. My last point is the coaching. The coaching hasn't been brought up in most of the debates I'm seeing, but I would say it's clear that the Dream Team had better coaching. The head coach of the Dream Team was Chuck Daly, who had a good coaching career at Duke, Boston College, and the University of Pennsylvania, before leading the Detroit Pistons to consecutive NBA championships in 1989 and 1990. Those were the Bad Boys Pistons with Dumars and Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer and Isaiah Thomas. The assistant coaches on the Dream Team were Lenny Wilkens, P.J. Carlesimo, and, ironic, the coach of this year's team, Mike Krzyzewski. Lenny Wilkens was inducted to the Hall of Fame as a player and a coach, and he led the Seattle Supersonics to their only NBA title in 1979, and trails just Don Nelson on the list of the most games won by an NBA assistant coach, by an NBA coach. P.J. Carlesimo was a legendary coach at Seton Hall. He won Coach of the Century at Seton Hall, and he won 3 championships as the assistant coach of the Spurs from 2002 to 2007. I think that the Dream Team is much better coaching than the 2012 team with Jim Boeheim, who has won 1 national title, Nate McMillan, who has never won anything, and Mike D'Antoni, who was a failed coach on the Suns, who was fired by the Knicks last season. The benefit of great coaches cannot be understated, and the Dream Team had a plethora of these great coaches. My final verdict: with their defense, competitiveness, size, and the will to win, the Dream Team takes this one easily. In a 7-game series, I'd have to give the Dream Team the win in about 4 or 5 games. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far without getting bored out of your mind, I would like you to rate, comment, favorite it, even if you want to favorite it. I don't really care. And in the comments, I'd like you to put what you want me to see, what my next video should be. If you could give me suggestions, that would be fan-freaking-tastic. So, thank you, and I'm going to start doing more videos, so stay tuned, and have a nice day.